Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. The idea tonight is just to share some ideas, tell you a little bit about the story of Pythian and HR in the world, the 21st century. Okay, so what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about, I'm going to tell you a little bit about, if you ever, the problem with opinions, and there's an oversupply of opinions. So when there's an oversupply, it's kind of dangerous in that you're never sure who to listen to. So one suggestion I would have is try and find out who you're listening to and why. So I'm going to try and give you a little context of myself, the Pythian context, tell you a little story about it, and hopefully you'll take some ideas. And why I think HR is always strategic. And that's not just because I'm getting a free dinner. I still do really believe it. And you'll see it's been quite dramatic, the impact HR has had on Pythian. And then I'm going to hopefully suggest or summarize what you might do, what you might take away this evening from this presentation. So who we are. So I suggested to Heidi that she give the presentation because it was her enthusiasm that got me here tonight. And it's also her enthusiasm and energy and effort to get this presentation organized. And boy, I think she checked that this presentation was ready about 32 times today. So we were well prepared. So Heidi is my director of HR. She's an incredible energy and spirit for the company, has had a dramatic impact on the company. Everybody in the company would tell you that. She's built a team now of 4 HR individuals, and I would say she's put together an enviable team in Ottawa and Canada, and will continue to do so. So what does Pythian do? So it's a very interesting, it's a global, we operate in 16 countries, professional services organization, right? That's what we do. We sell services. We're in the business of providing what's called remote DBA services. And if you don't know what that means, don't worry, we're about to. So we have very smart people in 16 countries, as I say. And what they do is they connect via the internet into very dark, cool rooms that nobody operates in because you connect through the internet. And they make sure the world of data runs smoothly. So a little bit of history. The founder of this company, his name is Paul Valet. He started this company as his 4th startup. First 3 failed. And he did this all between the ages of 23 and 25. At 25, he got one that actually started to work. And that was called Pythian. He was way ahead of his time. He started selling services into the United States as part of the tech boom was happening, particularly in New York. 10 years later, everything's good, except he gets into a significant bun fight with his partner at that time, his business partner. When you're 2 young guys in 1997, you form a business together, everything's going to be great because we're buddies from high school and university. You don't need legal agreements. It actually made case law. So, and this is how I come into the theater. I'm called to provide advice to one party, in this case it was Paul. He won the bid, he takes control of the company. Fast forward, 2008 occurs, banking implosion, and he asks me, through a series of events, I was already an investor, to come in as executive chairman. One of the first things he asked me to do was sign every check. I'd never been a CEO, I'd never had operational experience. Okay? I was fortunate, Terry kind of picked me out of obscurity as an analyst, and I became a venture capitalist. It's an unusual route to take. So typically VCs in the United States, you're expected to have some sort of operational experience. Anyway, so I go into Pythian. My job is to provide some advice. Every check goes through me. It's an interesting way to learn a business. 2009, so now my responsibility is to help build a team. And 2009 is an interesting time. 2008, Canadian dollar crashes because of the economic tsunami. 2009, the Canadian dollar strengthens. If you're a US-based export business, which we are, all our revenues in US dollars, you are impacted by a strengthening Canadian dollar. Customers are dying and reducing. Revenue's going down. The currency is going the opposite, which is driving your revenue down. I've been brought in to build a management team. That means costs are going up. And the final thing is we moved, because we were in a high-priced, very bad real estate downtown, and that cost us a lot. So it was the perfect storm of circumstances, none of it good. Oh, and by the way, when he'd done the leverage buyout, he'd levered the company up with debt, mostly debt. And so I had very, very large capital and interest payments. You can talk to Royal Bank and BDC about that. So it was a very, very unusual time and a very difficult time, and I'm a first-time CEO. So it was a tricky time. And, by the way, imagine a founder who gets into a bun fight with his founder partner. He's got a nice big scar on his back. Trusting people at the leadership level is not an easy thing to do. So, and he doesn't really know me that well. He obviously knows me enough so he allows me to sign the checks. But it's an interesting thing where you have to build credibility. So in 2010, I've started to put the executive team together, brought in finance, brought in a number of the responsibilities, including sales. And the thesis that I hold to you tonight is how important HR is in a 21st century global world. And while all your companies may not be global players, I still think the perspective, because of you are competing with global players, is important. And what I realized was service delivery, which is our core business. Okay, it is obviously our core asset, but unless you have sales, you're not serving anybody. And in professional services, if you are selling and you don't have human resources working functionally extraordinarily well, you don't have a solid professional services business.